Being Polish and a Eurovision fan is not a good mix because my country has a way of sending totally other crap, total nonsense to this contest. But for some reason, sometimes it is very, very iconic. But as a stan, I have a problem with it because I want to see my country do well. And when we are not sending terrible, offensive music to the contest, we are sending boring ballads or occasionally some of the best singers you will ever hear in your entire life. I'm looking at you, Justyna Steczkowska. But today, I am feeling patriotic. Yay. I'm gonna regret this video so much. Basically, I want to appreciate what my country has done for the world of European music at large through the lens of the Eurovision Song Contest. And I want to appreciate the beauty and the charm of these entries that we will be discussing today. Will I stay patriotic throughout this video? Girl. Hello, my name is Freyr. I am your favorite local forest gremlin, a Polish sociology student, and a pop culture enthusiast. And today I am bringing you a video that is likely gonna get me banned from this country. So I've been making videos about Eurovision for some time now, and I've also started branching out. I've made a video about the Tortured Poets Department and about the Great Impersonator. And there's gonna be more videos coming soon about other topics outside of Eurovision, but you know, sometimes you have to honor where you started, and I think this is kind of the best way I can do that right now that it's the Eurovision off season. Also, I am so sorry for how long it took to get this video out, but life just decided to conspire against me, and I've been a total mess ever since. Last week, full week, I was just sick, I was out, and I wasn't like sick like I had a flu or something. Like my energy was at a zero, and then when I finally recovered and I was like, okay, let me film this video, that was like last Thursday. I recorded the whole video, which was like 2 hours long because I had to stop midway through and I forgot to press pause on the video that I was recording because my brother was doing renovation in his room that is next over, and everything was caught on that microphone, and also the audio was shit. I don't know what happened, why it broke, but if it happens again, I will jump out my window. And then, to add to my suffering, yesterday I stepped on a nail. So yeah, everything has been going perfectly over here, and at this point, I just don't give a fuck. I am gonna be here, I'm gonna be yapping. If it comes out shit, it comes out shit. I don't care anymore. I'm sorry. I have no fucks left to give. Especially that this is the topic of this video. And I just know that this is not gonna be a positive one. But yeah, now that this specific rant is over, because there's gonna be more rants in this video, I would like to quickly remind you that you can subscribe to my channel. I always appreciate that. You can like the video, you can comment down below, you can share it with your friends. You can also follow me on all of my other socials, which are listed in the description box below. Those include Twitter, TikTok, Letterboxd, Tumblr, and Instagram. By the way, please follow me on Letterboxd. I need more followers on there because it's kind of embarrassing. Back to the video. We're gonna do this in the form of a tier list, and we're gonna use my new purchase, my new Canon YouTuber purchase for this. This is my board. Her name is Bethany, and she is a skinny legend. She's an icon. She's a mother. She's like the sister I never had. I don't know a better person. I don't know a better person.
She is the friend that everybody deserves. I don't know a better person.
And basically Bethany is gonna be my assistant for this video. By the way, if I don't see any comments under this video saying we stand Bethany, she's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment, I will be batting people. So behave and pay some respect to my lady here, okay? My lady? Ew, that was so gross. I'm sorry. The 5 tiers we're gonna be exploring today are all inspired by like Polish pop culture moments, because I decided that because we were doing a video about Poland in Eurovision, that's just kind of like the best way to go about it. And every single time I've gone live on TikTok, which I do quite often, follow me on there if you want to join in on the fun. There are at least 3 different people who are gonna come into that chat and be like, hey, are you really Polish? Say something in Polish real quick, because I don't trust you. Like, I put that Polish flag in my nickname and in my bio just for shits and giggles. So these tears are for you. Fuck off. Our first tier is called Hellwin. This is, of course, inspired by Edyta Górniak. She is obviously going to be mentioned in this video soon because she did represent us at Eurovision. But since her time at Eurovision, she's became this sort of like kind of icon, but also kind of a meme legend. Like that specific rant about Hellwin, it lives in my head rent-free. Like I'm going to play you some clips from it probably in post. I don't know, editing Freyr is going to have to figure that out. But that is one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen.
Hell win. Znacie angielski.
Like she is losing it over Halloween because in her mind it sounds like hell win. So hell is winning, you know? And you know English, right? Znacie angielski.
Znacie angielski.
I love this tier so much for the inspiration, but I don't love this tier when it comes to music because this is for the songs that are proof that hell is indeed winning. Because in what world was this deserving to be on the Eurovision stage? Our next tier is called Ała, and this is inspired by... Okay, I love Magda Gessler. I really, really love her. She is kind of like the Polish Gordon Ramsay, but just a woman. And she is way cuntier than Gordon Ramsay. So we love that. And basically there is that video of her falling down like a few stairs. It wasn't like a big stair. I don't know how you say that, but like just I think they had like 3 steps or something and she fell down that. And there's that video clip of her and she goes, "Awa." I used that video for so many things. I don't think I've used it in editing yet, but I will now. And yeah, I basically really, really love that video. And Magda Gessler is an icon. And that is going to be our second tier. This is for car crashes. But car crashes that are still slightly enjoyable. Do I hate everything about this? Yes. But I can also like laugh at it. You know, it has some whimsy to it. Polski lektor w filmie fabularnym. This is for the most boring entries we've sent. And this is going to be a quite popular tier in this video, let me tell you, because we've sent some really, really boring things to this contest over time. And this is inspired, well, technically this is inspired by a couple things. There's this very famous Polish lector for movies and films. He narrates them. He does not show any emotions. There's nothing, it's the energy level is just constantly here. I don't know the name of the guy. I feel like I should probably know that. But basically, this is inspired specifically by a TikTok I saw a couple, well, now weeks ago, because it's been weeks that I've been trying to film this video for, where there was this guy who basically was reenacting like getting injured and having that be narrated by the quote-unquote Polski lektor w filmie fabularnym, and it made me piss myself. I was cackling at it for way longer than I should have. I'm gonna play you the TikTok if I can find it now.
No, nie, nie, o nie, ja pierdolę, kurwa mać.
Our penultimate tier is called Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym cieniem mgły. Of course, inspired by our former president, Andrzej Duda, doing a rap Hot 16 challenge during the pandemic?
Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym cieniem mgły. Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym cieniem mgły.
It's crazy that we live in reality where this actually happened. But honestly, I am gonna miss Andrzej Duda slightly because he was kind of an asshole, but at least he was funny. The new guy, kind of scares me, not gonna lie. So this is for the subjective sneaks, I want to say. This is for the entries that I personally love. I don't feel like many people do other than I. But this is my video and not yours. You can correct me in the comments, but I will be giving them praise. I will be giving them what they deserve. And our final and the best tier you can possibly end up in for this video is called Zenek Martyniuk Award for Artistic Achievements. This is, of course, inspired by the absolute king of disco polo, the global phenomenon at this point. He is a singer that Beyonce looks up to, you know? He is bigger than Queen, the Beatles, Taylor Swift combined. And of course, I'm talking about Zenek Martyniuk. Like, who else would I be talking about? He is an absolute legend in Poland. He pioneered disco polo, and he is now promoting his new smash hit called Mandacik.
Wręczę ci mandacik za przekroczenie piękności.
Stream Mandacik, that is a banger, I don't care. I cannot keep this act up any longer. Again, as you can see, we are dealing with a very high level of artistry here. And so obviously this tier is going to be for the creme de la creme. This is for the entries that I just have nothing against. These entries are perfect. These entries are what we deserve as a nation. Well, we don't actually, because this nation is fucked, but, you know, I would like to imagine that we would deserve them. And with that out of the way, we can start ranking some entries. We're gonna go in chronological order because I personally decided that it would be more fun to see how the kind of quality jumps between decades and between time periods, because it is very, very clearly different. A lot of entries from like same time periods are gonna end up in similar places. And there is a very, very big trajectory that you can kind of see with our entries that I'm gonna be kind of presenting you here. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And thus, we're gonna be starting in 1994, where Poland decided to take its huge ass and debut in the Eurovision Song Contest for the first time. We talked about her again. We're talking about her now. Edyta Górniak with her song To Nie Ja placed second in 1994. And I think it's kind of crazy that this is still our best result in the contest. We have never placed higher than this. We have never tied this result. I think having her as a Eurovision winner would have been low-key very, very funny. But she did not win after all. And in hindsight, do I think that this is the best song ever? No, but I also think that it's still iconic and it does deserve some praise, because this is our best placing entry ever. And I actually think that it's kind of decent and it did age very well. I think obviously you can say a lot of things about Edyta Górniak, but one thing that you cannot deny is that this girl, talented as hell. She has the voice of an angel. She uses it very weird ways, you know, those TikTok rants. You know, but she can sing the hell out of the song. I don't think the song itself is the most incredible thing I've ever seen, but I do kind of like the message behind it. I like the lyricism in it. I think the lyrics are actually really cool, and I do like to pay attention to that. I think that the musical kind of environment that the song lives in is also really, really cool. I think that this is a nice entry to debut with. I don't think this is the best, and I would hope that it wasn't, because peaking at your debut would be kind of sad. But this is not our peak quality wise. Luckily, there's gonna be some songs that I do think are better than this. I do, however, think that we kind of do have to pay this song some respect, because this is our first ever entry. And I think for that reason, I'm gonna place this in Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym cieniem mgły tier. This is not the best entry, but it is iconic. And I think it set Poland up for a good trajectory in the contest, even though we didn't really stick the landing. Honestly, you know what I really, really need in life right now? I would kill for somebody to make an edit of Edyta Górniak to a song like Gnarly by Cat's Eye. Imagine her walking down the street, Gnarly. And then Hellwin, Gnarly. Znacie angielski? Gnarly. That would be so fucking funny. Here it is. And now we can move on to 1995, where our representative was Justyna Styczkowska with her song Sama. This is, of course, the first out of the 2 entries that Justyna has sent to the contest over the past 30 years. And whilst Gaia is like 3 times more dramatic than this, is this an unpopular opinion if I say that I actually kind of prefer this to Gaia? Will I get stoned in the comments for saying this? I think Sama has something very ethereal about it. It's something very mysterious, but also very whimsical. And I think it's very, very well executed. Justyna was 22 at the time, and her vocal prowess was already insane. Like, this woman pipes. The vocal riffs she does in this song specifically are so goddamn impressive. And to see her, 30 years later, still kicking it and doing it just as well as she did in 1995 was insane to witness. And I was so happy, but I am kind of getting ahead of myself. This song is really, really fucking good. And I will not hear anybody out on that one. Like, 18th place? Come on. This is way better than 18th, let me tell you. Way better. This could have won the contest and I would have been like, sure, fine. I love this song. I really, really do. One thing though, I don't think the violin translated that well live. I mean, I don't know how it sounded live, but like the recording of the song that I found on YouTube, the violin was really pitchy, and you have to remember that is the year that Nocturne was the winning entry from Norway, and they really relied on a violin. So that might have deducted some points. I don't know. But like, I personally think that this is a perfect entry. I wouldn't change a thing about it. And I will place this in the Zenek Martyniuk Award for Artistic Achievements because I love this entry. I will die on that hill. I think this is one of the best entries we've ever sent. Chcę znać swój grzech by Kasia Kowalska was our entry next year, 1996 to be exact. This placed like what? 15th? Kind of checks out. I think I've said that already a couple times about a few different entries. 2 to be exact, but this is another like very classy one. I do kind of like it. However, out of the 3 we've discussed so far, this is probably the most boring one. Also, take a shot every single time I say boring in this video because you will get hammered with what's to come with the 2000s. Oh my god. Actually, maybe don't. That might be very, very, very bad advice. I think some of these vocals were slightly off, but I also like don't hate this. I think this is a completely fine entry. I think what I really, really like about it is actually kind of the musical setting to it. I think it kind of reminds me of like something off of the Moomins soundtrack. That instrumental would fit well. And if you know me, you know that I love the Moomins. I mean, my profile picture is literally Snufkin, so like, duh. But I think that this entry is gonna go into the Polski Lektor w filmie fabularnym tier because I just, I don't really like it that much. It's just there. 1997 brings us Anna Maria Jopek with her song Ale Jestem. This song placed 11th in the grand final, and this is performed by another, I wouldn't say like household name in Poland. Like if you are Polish, you've probably heard of Anna Maria Jopek, which I mean deserved because this is low-key a banger. I actually kind of like this song. I don't know. There's just something about it that like, I like the vibe of it, you know, the energy to it. There's just something about it that like scratches my brain in all the correct ways. This is one of those entries that I actually didn't know prior to researching for this video. And it was a very pleasant surprise. I didn't know that we were hitting it out of the gate like this with some of our entries in the 90s. I think that the vibe to it is great. I like some of the lyrics too. I just, yeah, I don't know. I have to be honest. I kind of like this. I think Poland in the 90s is actually like our golden age. And some of the music we're going to get into from the 90s as well is also really, really, really good. So I am not afraid to put this where this belongs. Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym cieniem mgły tier. So this is now officially our first tier with 2 different residents, and we are moving on to 1998, where we sent To takie proste by 16.
Zabić gniew, to takie proste jest.
We placed 17th with this entry, which isn't very, very high. But again, it's not all about the placing. I don't know what it is about Poland in the 90s, but this is just another one that I am like, ooh, this is good. I love this so much. Out of the gate, love this opening guitar. That guitar, great guitar. Also, I think out of the, 4 entries that we've discussed now, this is gonna be the most, generic one, I guess. But, I don't mind it. This sounds like something out of, a coming-of-age movie to me. But, make it Polish. Make it, post-communist, I guess. Because it does remind me of, that certain period of my life, or, that certain period of, films and music that you still hear kind of be glorified by people who've lived through those times. For example, my parents, I hear that a lot from my parents, and it's also music that sometimes you will hear at the better radio stations, for example, Radio 357. They will be playing those songs from time to time, and every single time I'm like, this might not be the music I am listening to every day, but this is music that does make me feel kind of nostalgic, even though I wasn't born in that time. So I think that this is a really, really good entry. I think 17th, it plays 17th. Yes. Which, by the way, missed opportunity because the band is called 16 and you placed them 17th. This is like when S10 in 2022 placed 11th. Girl, come on. This is just very, very fucking joyful. And I there's just nothing more to say about this. This is another Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym cieniem mgły tier resident because I love this. Okay, 1999, Przytul mnie mocno by Mietek Szcześniak. This placed, I think, 18th in the grand final, and shot 2 for the word boring if you are still playing the game, but I recommend you don't. This is boring. This is a ballad. He has a good voice. Nothing stands out about it, and that's kind of the extent of things that I have to say about this. I don't know if this is disrespectful to just move on this quickly, but I really don't have much to say. It's just kind of there. So this is going into the Polski lektor w filmie fabularnym tier. We skip a year and we go to 2001 with Piasek and their song Too Long. This is our first fully English entry that we've ever sent to the contest, and this placed 20th, I think, yeah. And gotta be honest, I don't love this actually, and you're gonna hear me speak about it a little bit more in this video, but I think the language part is a part of this, because this feels like something that if it was sung in Polish, I could maybe actually relate to, and I could maybe feel slightly nostalgic to. For example, To takie proste. This is a very simple song. It is not breaking the mold. It is not something that you've never heard before. But because it is in Polish, it feels like a more direct reference to something, and you can actually relate to it, or at least I can. And if it's in English, I just kind of feel like it's such a broad audience that it ends up not relating to anybody, especially if it isn't specific with its lyricism. And this definitely isn't specific with its lyricism. So on top of just being generic, I think that this song doesn't stand out, and I think that this song kind of loses points for authenticity, and I don't really like it. This to me just feels like a watered down version of To takie proste. This is just this is the standard, we are here and we are here. I guess foreshadowing, because this is going into the Awa tier. We skip yet another year and we go to 2003, where we sent Ich Treue with their song Keine Grenzen, żadnych granic.
Keine Grenzen, keine Fahne.
So basically, this entry placed 7th, which is one of our best results. And I actually think that this might be like our best result this century, which is kind of crazy because this song is not that good. Ich Treue are iconic in Poland. Like, if you are Polish, you know of them. I don't think you know their music, but you know who they are. And I think that this song, it's fine. It utilizes many different languages, actually. I think it uses Polish, it uses Russian, and it uses German, I believe. Yeah? Yeah. So we also have 2 different titles for this. This is called Keine Grenzen, żadnych granic, which both of these translate to no borders. This is basically like a song about peace and unity and love and how we are all a big family, and we're not a big family, clearly. I don't like songs like these. I'm sorry. It's cheesy. It's boring. It's just, I think that the message of peace and unity can be done in a much more creative way. I think one of the best examples of that would actually be Europapa by Joost Klein, which was the Dutch entry in 2024. I think that was partially about the unity and the love that is supposed to be like the I guess the characteristics of being European, but it was done in a way that didn't feel cliche, it didn't feel overdone, it didn't feel overly schmaltzy. This feels just slightly unoriginal, especially that even before that we've seen thousands of songs like these, and after we've also seen thousands songs like this. So I'm sorry, I cannot get myself to like this. I know they're iconic, respect them, and I love the styling on them. I actually think that it's really, really cool. And for 2003 standards, like Poland, this is the most homophobic country in the European Union, and they are dressed quite flamboyantly, which I love. Good for them. But this has to go into the Polski Lektor w Filmie Fabularnym tier. I just really have no energy for this whatsoever. Actually, I was about to put them in the Polski Lektor w Filmie Fabularnym tier, but then I decided that actually Ała would be better because I don't really like this. So, yeah. And that brings us to 2004 with Love Song by Blue Cafe. This song placed 17th, I believe, and it utilizes Spanish and English, which is kind of random, but okay. And one thing that I do really like about it is the intro. I really, really love that intro. This is another like instance of where I'm gonna be kind of picky about the language part of it all, because I think that this song would have hit way better if it was in Polish. Or at least switch the English part to Polish. I'm not asking you to switch out the Spanish part. I think that can stay if we have a Polish part. Yeah, I think this would have done way better if it was in Polish. I also think that the Spanish part is kind of random, but okay, whatever. I guess it's fine. It's not really revolutionary. The lyrics to this are not that good. However, I actually think that the Spanish part has the most energy in the song, and I actually kind of wish that the entire song was kind of like this, because that part, my ass was slightly shaking. This is also, like, I want to say, like, our first song where we got a little slightly sexy. Like, this woman, she is serving it. Like, she kind of reminds me of, like, a drunk aunt at, like, a wedding or something. But honestly, that is a vibe. And that is a vibe that I can get behind. So she gets off the hook for that. And I think that her outfit is actually kind of cool. And yeah, that's kind of what I have to say about this. And no disrespect to Blue Cafe, but I am putting this in the Ała tier. Okay, 2004, done. And now we move on to 2005, which is, of course, famous for the fact that I was born that year. So I am really, really curious to see what incredible musical achievements my country came up with to represent on the Eurovision stage the fact that I was born and to commemorate that tremendous occasion. You know, am I seeing this correct? Oh no. Well, 2005 marks our first ever non-qualification with a song called Czarna Dziewczyna by Ivan and Delfin. And there is a lot to unpack here. I have to provide this section with a disclaimer that I tried to search so many things about this entry to make sure that my initial thoughts about this weren't correct. However, this entry seems to have been wiped from the internet because outside of like a Wikipedia page, I did not find nothing about the upbringing of either of like the staging directors or the performers or the dancers or whoever. Nothing. And that is important for this because this is about a Romani girl, about a gypsy girl. And I don't know how to feel about this. This honestly feels kind of exploitative to me. Czarna dziewczyna is something that could translate to black girl, but also in this case is likely referring to the fact that it's a black-haired girl. It doesn't refer to the skin color, so I think that's fine. A lot of like titles and basically it's a thing in Polish where sometimes people just don't add the hair part. It's just czarna dziewczyna or I don't know, ruda dziewczyna, which that makes more sense. That would be a red-haired girl. So that isn't that necessarily big of a problem. Although when I first saw that title, I was kind of like, okay. But my problems start with the actual performance. They are wearing these costumes, which I'm assuming are referencing like gypsy traditional clothing. I am not necessarily too educated on that culture and that ethnicity, so I don't know. Correct me in the comments, please do, because I want to be educated on that. However, basically, I have a lot of issues with how this is done, because if I am not mistaken, none of the people taking part in this are Romani. So this is just cultural appropriation. The thing that also kind of scares me about this entry is the fact that we don't really know whether these girls are painted to have their skin be darker, which is something that I noticed while I was watching the video. I was like, is it the lighting that is making them look like they have darker skin tones, or are they actually Romani, or do they just have their skin painted? And because I couldn't find answers, you just kind of, I guess, have to assume the worst thing. I'm assuming the worst thing. If this is a case of them being painted to look darker than they actually are, this is quite fucking offensive. Just from like the cultural perspective of it all, this is really, really bad. Did not age very well. I also think that the song itself is just really, really bad. I don't like that there is a Russian part in this as well. Like, this is in Russian and Polish. That makes me feel icky. I am not surprised that this was our first ever non-qualification. I'm gonna be very, very frank and very upfront about this. I think this was deserved. And unfortunately, I have to talk about this entry now. I am probably going to repress it afterwards. And hopefully the context that this entry is in isn't as bad as I'm thinking, because again, I couldn't find any information about this. So like, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But at the time of recording me, I have not found anything about the issues that I have about this specific entry. So this goes into Halloween. 2005 is kind of the year where our struggle becomes very, very clear, because we go to 2006 where we sent to the contest Ich Troje once more with their song Follow My Heart.
I follow my heart, and one day I can find the way that I feel about you by my side.
Side note, whenever I see this title, I'm like, okay, follow your arrow, Casey Musgraves, yay.
Follow your arrow wherever it points.
But it isn't really that. It's just it's just yeah, it is that. It's not that. I wish it was that though, because girl, this entry. This song is unbelievably kitsch. This is just so much. It's so disjointed. It's so over the top to the point that it doesn't make sense anymore. I'm sorry, there's not much I like about this. It's really disjointed. They do too much with the stage, I also feel like, because there's like a part that I think is like in the crowd, or he's like walking in front of it. Then we're suddenly on the stage. Then we're like entering this. It's so much. Also, this is like in 5 different languages, I think. 5 or 4. like an insane number around that. This is just incredibly incohesive, incoherent even. The language thing isn't helping. I just really, really dislike this entry. I don't think this is like Hellwind level of bad, because technically it's a nice piece of music that doesn't offend anybody, but like it's like between these two, and I think this fits into the Awa tier. Yeah, I think both of the xofreyr entries are gonna have to land in the Awa tier. I'm so sorry. And if you thought that the struggles would end here, man, are you wrong. 2007 brought us the Jet Set with their song Time to Party. I will not be attending that party.
It's time to party. Join me and let's go to a party.
So this is another NQ, just like xofreyr and just like Ivan and Delphine here. And this is a really bad entry. This entry is really, really incoherent. I guess this is kind of like a theme for our entries at this point. Like, we love to send something that just doesn't make sense musically to this contest. This starts off in a very, very weird way. And that was a moment where I was like, I don't know if I want to continue watching this, because this is really cringe, and not cringe in a fun way. I like being cringe, but this is slightly too much.
Let's party. You got the right to party.
The costuming on the women, I think, is fine. Question mark, because later we're gonna get there, but I think that this entry, from just the musical standpoint, is really incoherent. We jump from chorus to verse with not much cohesion. The tempo doesn't make sense. It changes literally in every section. I just don't really like it. And then we get to the performance, we get to the styling of it all. Man, do I need to call the police, because what the hell was this? First, these women starting off in a cage?
Hey guys, you really know what I like.
Just like that.
Are you sure that that's what you want to do with your fucking Eurovision performance? You want to have these women in a cage? Whilst these men are dancing over there, being creepy as fuck, wearing wife beaters.
You know it's your right to party.
Whose idea was this? There's also like a moment of choreography there, which doesn't belong on the Eurovision stage, in my opinion. Like, okay, we need to get that off the stage. This is some sort of like adult performance that shouldn't be seen by millions of Europeans watching this at home.
Body get crazy.
Luckily, the semifinals are typically less watched than the finals, so hopefully less people saw this embarrassment of an entry. So I guess that's a positive. But I think this entry feels very, very icky, especially with these guys. They look like the kind of man that you should avoid in whatever city you're in if you're walking at night. Like, if you see those men and they start walking to you, like in your direction, run. Whoever styled this performance, whoever thought of this staging, whoever was responsible for this even getting selected, I want them to get the Sue Sylvester treatment.
Okay, don't worry.
Actually jail. I hate this entry. This is absolutely a Hellwind resident. Horrible, horrible entry. Congratulations to everyone involved. 2008 brings us For Life by ISSG, which placed 24th in the grand final.
I let my heart show the way.
Another boring ballad. Yay, she has a good voice. It's a boring ballad. I'm sorry. I also think that her enunciation is weird at times. Like, I cannot really understand what she's singing about, but cool. I guess that isn't like the biggest problem. I don't know. I think this is boring. This is gonna be another short one. Polski lektor w filmie fabularnym.
I don't wanna leave, but it's my destiny.
Okay, 2009. This is I Don't Wanna Leave by Lidia Kopania, and this was an NQ if I remember correctly, and this is yet another boring ballad. Yay! Not much to say here. I think this is just a watered down version of For Life by ISSG, but this is just way more boring. I know that this tier was like designed for boring ballads, which is gonna have to hold a couple more There's more coming. I actually think that this is not gonna go into the Polski Lektor w filmie fabularnym tier because it's just so painfully boring that it's like even more boring than the entries that we see like here. I think this deserves the AWA tier. Okay, 2010 is next, and that is Legenda by Marcin Mroziński.
I'll be forever, ever and ever, feeling this love till the day when I die.
I am so happy that we're finally talking about an entry that's like actually interesting, that actually brings something of merit, you know? And it's actually like decent entry to listen to as well. I kind of like this. This was another NQ, unfortunately, but I think that out of all of our like non-qualifications, this is so far the best one, undeniably. This at least has a concept to it, you know? It's interesting on some way, even if it fails in some. Like, I love that intro. That intro, which is in Polish, is probably the highlight of the entire performance. I love the styling on the backing singers as well. And then we get to my problems. I kind of dislike that this isn't English, like for the most part. Like, this is a bit of a deceiver because you have the title being Polish, but the song is mostly in English. Like, okay. This is basically like a story of a prince trying to get a princess, you know, kind of like a fairy tale. And it's very heavily inspired by like Slavic folklore and stuff like that, specifically music-wise, even though in the English parts, I think that the music kind of gets like it's very mid-tempo. It doesn't necessarily stand out that much, but it's fine. I think the vocals are great. I think the styling on the backing singers, as I just said, was great. I don't understand why he's in a tux. Poland loves to set a man up with the styling. Like, why is he wearing this tux while singing a song about a legend, about a princess? And like, where's the fantasy? You know, you have your backing singers be dressed in these fabulous traditional clothes, and you're over here looking like you're going to a fucking prom. Make it make fucking sense. I think he should have worn something traditional too. Like, I know he's a man, but like, men also wore traditional clothing. They weren't like running around the fucking 12th century or some, wherever these clothes are from. I am kind of uneducated in that regard, but like, they weren't wearing fucking tuxes. Put him in something more interesting. I don't know. But I think that I have to appreciate the effort in this because this is actually kind of interesting. And as a result, this goes into the Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym cieniem mgły tier. 2011 is next, and we have Jestem by Magdalena Tulu, but I believe was her name. And this is another incredible achievement from the Polish community because we managed to place last with this in the semi-final.
Jestem twym natchnieniem, dałeś upojenie. Twój świat kręci się.
Did it deserve that though? No, not really. I actually disagree with that placing. I think this was kind of fun. Like, the song is dated, yes. I believe it was dated even in 2011, but it's fun. And you know what I like. I like fun. So I think that this is actually kind of cool. I like that the attempt at a choreo was at least made, even if sometimes it looks like a mix of the Single Ladies by Beyonce choreo with like a Pilates class or something. I like kind of the styling on her. It's very camp, it's very diva, you know. There's a lot going on stage and that kind of fits the song. I don't think that this is like incredible, but I don't think that this deserves last place. I think this is like a very, very safe middle. I think that this actually belongs in the Polski Lektor w filmie fabularnym tier because I don't think this deserves this, but it also doesn't deserve to be this low. So I'm averaging it out. And now we take a break for the next 2 years because Poland had to withdraw from the contest. We were hosting the Euros alongside Ukraine. That was a big cost. And I'm sure our presence in the contest was dearly missed considering that we were like NQs for the last 3 years. Then we qualified randomly. Another 3 NQs, like, girl, nobody missed us. We arrived in Copenhagen in 2014 with a song that changed the world, or at least changed my world, okay? Because the first time I saw this, my jaw was on the floor. Miss Słowianie by Cleo and Donatan was our entry, and this placed 14th in the grand final. I'm gonna say it now because I know that most of you are probably already thinking this. This was robbed as hell. Top 10 was deserved for this, and I will die on that hill. This should have been left side. This should have been top 10. I don't care. This could have won the contest. I would have batted an eye at it. You know, this entry is a fucking banger. Like, whenever it comes on, I am shaking my ass, and I am not apologizing for it. This is one of the more sexual entries, obviously, because it's remembered by the fact that you have women churning butter. But compared to another more risque entry, I guess, which we sent, it was 2007, Time for Party, the Jet Set, the one that had the very creepy man. I think that there is a massive difference between how you do sex in these kinds of entries, because Miss Słowianie, yes, it is sexual, but it feels way more like a also self-confidence anthem. There is a lot of like cultural appropriation. Not appropriation, this is not 2005. Appreciation. It's appreciating the beauty of the Polish women, even if it is through like the sexual lens. But like, it is done in a way that should make you feel more confident about yourself rather than whatever the hell they were doing here. You know, I think that this is a good song. I think it's really, really catchy. One thing I did not like was the English version. Obviously, I don't like English versions of Polish songs, but I think that judging by the performance, which was just a lot, it was really messy. You had all of the costumes, you have the churning butter, you have the doing laundry. I think that was what she was doing. You have the over-the-top graphics. Everything about this is just beyond charming. Everything about this is just beyond iconic. I cannot help myself but to love this, because this is a mess, but it's my mess. And I adore it. I think this is very deservedly so gonna be landing in the Zenek Martyniuk Award for Artistic Achievements. So I am back. This is take 2. I changed the camera angle slightly so you can see more of the board and also more of me, because I thought that the old one was kind of weird. Again, I am working with limited equipment. It's my phone, a light, and a microphone. So bear with me. But also I took like I want to say like a 3-hour break because it is hot outside. And whilst on that break, I realized I actually missed an opportunity. And had I already covered our 2015 entry, then I could have made a joke that I had to take a break because it was just so boring that it sent me to sleep. And instead, I'm just going to talk about that entry now. And I might just take another break afterwards because it is really boring. This entry is, of course, In the Name of Love by Monika Kuszyńska. Yes. So this entry placed in the bottom 5, deservedly so. This is a ballad, a boring ballad number 7, I think. Or, well, actually, there's been a few less than I've expected, actually. Either way, another boring ballad. She has a good voice. I actually kind of like the staging for this. I don't mind it. I think the color palette is kind of nice. I don't understand why these guys are wearing these black tuxedos. Again, dress these guys in something else. Literally anything else. This is literally where my criticism ends. This is so bland, so boring. It is what it is. So, as everybody probably predicted, this lands in the Polski Lektor w filmie fabularnym tier, but luckily our next entry is slightly more adventurous. Michał Szpak with Color of Your Life is our entrant from 2016, and fun fact actually, you guys know me as Freyr because that's my internet name, but actually in real life my name is Michał, meaning that he is my name brother. Very fucking cool. This finished 8th in the televote by getting absolutely slandered by the juries and then coming like top 3 in the televote. So if the juries respected us slightly more, this could have fully been like top 5. Great. This is another ballad. However, it's way more interesting than other ballads. I am so sorry. All of these are boring as hell. This is not. This is adventurous. This has a point of view to it. This also has some like vocal acrobatics that like kind of wake you up from your slumber if you were falling asleep like already. These ones, not much happens throughout the song. Yeah, there are some like nice vocals and whatever, but Color of Your Life, this is a song that is like absolutely difficult to sing. This is really, really difficult. And trust me when I say that this is difficult, because I've seen many different people attempt this song at like different like school gatherings and such. Every single time falls flat. Only when he does it, it's good. This song is somewhat like iconic in Poland. Like everybody kind of knows this song, even if they like don't necessarily know where it's from. So that just goes to show you like the legacy that this has left. And in my opinion, it's really, really sweet to look at that, specifically considering how tough Michał's Eurovision journey was. You know, it was 2016, Poland, still a homophobic country. Once a homophobic bitch, always a homophobic bitch, I guess. But like, he got so much hate because he was, you know, not necessarily the most like straight, white, cis presenting. You know, he was slightly fruity, which people really, really did not like. And he got a lot of abuse for it. But in the end, he came to Eurovision, became a hero, and now has like an undeniable fan base, is extremely popular in Poland, and is really, really cool. We got to see him a little bit more during our national final in 2025 when he hosted, and let me tell you, that one quote, actually there are several quotes of his that I love, but that one quote where he goes, jak szpaki i inne ptaki lecimy do przodu.
Jak wszystkie szpaki i inne ptaki, lecimy dalej!
Engraved in my mind. What can I even say? This is obviously gonna land in the Zenek Martyniuk Award for Artistic Achievements, because he's an icon. This song is iconic. I love him. He is incredible. If he ever were to represent us again, like everybody could already be packing their bags, because we are going to fucking Warsaw. So that's how I feel about Michał Szpak and his entry. Period. After that tremendous success, we go to 2017, where our representative was Kasia Moś with her song Flashlight.
Like a flashlight burning in their eyes. You call the dogs have gotten hypnotized.
So this is like boring ballad number like 10 at this point. This is boring. Again, her voice, totally fine. Really gorgeous voice. I actually also really like the staging. I think that the stellar constellations that they went for really worked with this, but the song is just nothing special. Also, just like going back to the installations, like a party wishes, you know? So yeah, another resident over here in the Polski Lektor w filmie fabularnym tier. I don't care for this at all. And from 2017, we go to 2018 for... I don't even want to talk about it, honestly.
Tell me where to go. Hey!
Light Me Up by Gromi featuring Lucas Meyer was our entry. This, of course, did not qualify because this is utter crap. I hate this entry with such like visceral hate. The first time I saw this, and that was after I had like joined the Eurovision fandom. I guess I joined in 2021, but like I was like trying to educate myself on some past entry, and I was going over the 2010s, and I got to that entry. I was like, okay, I don't want to know anything more. This is like the epitome of dożynki music. And if you don't know what dożynki are, basically this is like a festival for like kind of like the end of summer. It's typically like, I think in August, where it's like related to like harvest and stuff like that. It's technically something that comes from like tradition, but ultimately it does not have much to do with tradition, because all that it is just some people, you know, selling cake, food, and a DJ with a small stage and the most shitty music you've ever heard. That's kind of the aesthetic. And listen, that music serves its purpose. It's a great, like, I don't even know what to call it. It's like it just kind of fills the void, but it's not supposed to do much more, and it's not supposed to be at the forefront. And I think this is what we forgot when this was the entry in 2018, because this song is the epitome of dożynki fucking music, and I hate it. The fact that somebody looked at this and said, hey, I like this. Let's send this to fucking Eurovision. This fucking beat drop, makes me want to jump out of my window. It's so horrible. The charisma or the lack of it. I can excuse the staging. I guess it makes sense. But just everything about this, I just hate this so much. I hate this so much. I cannot. I don't really want to talk about this anymore, honestly. I just fucking hate this. And like, no hate to the people involved, but what they created is not something that I will ever be proud of as a Polish person. This is not good. And the fact that we sent this to Lisbon and we're like, yeah, this is definitely gonna win the contest. Girl, this is gonna land in the Hellwind tier. I have no energy left for this. I have to move on. I have to move on. Honestly, this is another, like, whoever was involved in the creation of this deserves the Sue Sylvester treatment.
Okay. Don't worry.
I said what I said. Luckily, next year, things get slightly better. 2019 brought us Tulia with their song Pali się, and this unfortunately did not make the final, despite the fact that it was infinitely better than that song from Belarus, which I will never get the hype behind. I'm sorry, that song was not that good. And I know that that song has stance, so I am afraid. But Pali się is just better. I think that this song is really, really good. There are some things that I dislike. I think that the inclusion of English just not needed at all. I also think that the melody in the verses could be heightened. I think it goes into mid-tempo for a little too long. I think that the instrumental itself, whilst we have this like Slavic aesthetic to it and they have their vocal stylings, which we're gonna get to in a moment, I don't think that the song really lifts that feeling up. Like, if you know what I'm saying, like it doesn't necessarily feel like we are dancing in the middle of the night in the woods, doing some Slavic ritual or whatever. I wish that it felt slightly more like that. However, this is still like probably the most traditional entry you've ever sent to the contest, and I still appreciate it. And back to their vocals, stunning. There are people who don't like that vocal, and to those people, all I have to say is you're tasteless, because this is art, this is culture, and this is really, really beautiful. They almost don't sound human. It's like they sound like something else, like a higher being almost. It's so mesmerizing. And I will forever be mad that this didn't qualify, because I actually think that this would be a deserved final spot. I don't think this would have done well in the finale, but do I care? No, this just deserved to be there. Period. So I'm gonna get this in the Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym cieniem mgły tier. We have officially reached the 2020s, and we're starting with the contest that never was. Alicja with her song Empires was supposed to be our entry that year, and this is a ballad. However, it's not that boring of a ballad, actually. So that's, you know, that's how we know we've made progress. This is probably the closest thing that we've ever sent to like a Bond theme. You know, think like Rise of the Phoenix by Conchita Wurst, that sort of thing. I personally kind of like this. I think Alicia's voice is really, really good. I kind of like the whole fire aesthetic. I wish we would have gotten to see this on the stage. Unfortunately, obviously, this was the contest that was cancelled due to the but I think that this would have done well, and I think this would have qualified, probably finished somewhere mid-table, but I think it still would have done pretty well. And yeah, my only like problem with this entry per se, I would say, is I don't like that there is like the high note at the end and then it just like abruptly ends in a song. Not a fan. I had a very similar problem with Bridges by Alika. You know, if you listen to that song, at the end there's that like big note and then it just ends so abruptly. I don't like that. I really don't like notes that like end like that. I really don't. I think out of respect for this entry, because again, she did not get to participate in the contest, I will put this in the Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym cieniem mgły tier, because I think that it honestly deserves to be there. I think this would have been a good entry live. So in 2020, we sent a pretty good entry, quality entry. It was fine. It wasn't like revolutionary or whatever, but it was fine. And then in 2021, we decided to revert back to the 2018 Poland, and we sent this.
So baby, hold on for the ride of your life. Hold a little time, make it alright.
The Ride by Rafał Brzozowski. Truly artistic genius. Like, Jesus was seen in Rotterdam in 2021, and it was not Barbara Pravi. It was Rafał Brzozowski. This is incredible. This is the artistic genius that I was looking for this entire video, because this song, I don't think this song is ever gonna be recreated. I don't think anything on this level is ever gonna be presented at Eurovision. And I think that this is like something that honestly makes me really proud to be Polish. That national pride beams me up as I watch and watch and watch reruns of this performance. I am just so deeply in love with this. I cannot keep this act up. I am really trying. So, as you probably might imagine, this song is absolutely horrible. The production of this has one of the worst instrumentals out of like every single Eurovision song I've ever heard. This is so bad. The vocals, horrible on all fronts. The staging, don't get me started on the staging. This was so ridiculous. Down to like the styling. I hate that suit on him. Why can't he wear something different than a fucking suit? These glasses, these plastic fucking glasses from Sensei. Are you joking? And then his charisma, which obviously shined very bright. This honestly sounds like if you asked like AI to recreate what a Radio SK song is. And this is what would be the end result of that prompt. And I find that really funny because this was 100% created by humans. And somebody in TVP decided that this was a good idea to send to the contest. I am honestly amazed at how horrible this is. Like, obviously this is landing in Hellwind. There's no other place I can put this. Although, unironically, I would put this in the Zenek Martyniuk Award for Artistic Achievements. And maybe I should do that. But like, this is iconic for all the wrong reasons. And unfortunately, I think Hellwind is, I think this is gonna be the better option. I'm sorry, Rafał Brzozowski, you are my king. Now, 2022 rolls around and we get an entry that I have some controversial opinions about, and I know I will get eviscerated in that comment section.
All that I've done, oh Lord, I've done.
So yeah, hold on to your keyboards, everybody, because we are talking about Ochman and his song River. Christian Ochman placed 12th, I believe, in the grand final in Turin. I don't like this song. Never liked it. Never once liked it. From the first time I heard it, I had problems with it. And that staging. Actually, we're gonna get to that staging slightly later. I want to talk about the song first. River is fine. It's a good piece of like ballad. It's like on the verge of like a pop song to a ballad. It has like those moments, but I don't think it's really that well executed. Christian Ochman, incredible vocalist. He is an opera singer. And I don't think that this song utilizes his skills to the fullest. I think that this song would have benefited slightly from throwing in more of those opera elements. I know they are there, but they have like not very that high of a prominence. I also don't necessarily like the choruses. I don't like the verses either. I like the heightened moments of drama where he gets to belt, but like everything else is just kind of like, okay, we could do better than this. And then that's staging. Starting with like the styling of it all. Why is he wearing another fucking tuxedo to this song? Like, you have these fucking dementors over there, and he's wearing a tuxedo. He looks like he's going to his senior prom, not like he is about to fight demons. Dress him appropriately or don't bother. Then, I actually kind of like the water effects on the LEDs, like below him and behind him. I think that is cool. I don't like the head projection that they have. That looks creepy. I also think that this didn't need all of those CapCut effects, which obviously later we got memed for, because this was suddenly our trademark. And yeah, I just kind of hate it. I really, really dislike this. I also think that the water droplets, which are one of the effects that is like overlaid over the camera feed, don't look like water. That is something else. So yeah, this might be a controversial opinion, but I don't care. This has to go into the Polski Lektor w filmie fabularnym tier. Like, has to go. But the actual level of mess doesn't really like materialize until 2023, because we sent Blanka with her song Solo. I should probably use the national final clip though. Nothing we've seen since Solo has ever been memed this much in the Eurovision fandom or outside of it. This is a hit with the memes. Of course, this was a very controversial selection, considering that that selection also holds one of the best ever songs to not go to Eurovision, which of course was Gladiator by Jan. Should it have went to Eurovision? Yeah, obviously. Would it have done well? Probably. Am I happy that Blanka went instead? At the time I wasn't. I was really, really mad. I really, really hated this entry. But as time went on, I kind of moved on, you know? I accepted that this is just for the shits and giggles. This is not a serious entry. It never was. It never was supposed to be. And now we have one of the most iconic memes to ever come out of Poland, thanks to Blanka. So I guess, you know, she paid her dues, you know? She did something iconic at least. This song is painfully mid. However, I actually kind of like the performance at Eurovision. I like the pink, purple, orange aesthetic that they have. I like the beach. Yeah, the aesthetic is banging. I think that the CapCut flames are a little much. I think that the dance break was maybe slightly not necessarily needed, but whatever. I love her costume. I think that the one projection of her like on the screen where she looks like a ghost is really, really funny. Yeah, I actually kind of like a lot of things about this. And as time went on, this kind of grew on me. And it's just because this is iconic. This is fun. This is iconic. And it might have not started as a joke, but it ended up as one. And that kind of saved this entry. So some of you people are gonna be like yelling at me in the comments because I am about to put this in the Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym cieniem mgły tier. Because this deserves to be here. And I will not argue about this. I am so fucking sorry. This deserves its recognition. This did numbers for Poland, okay? We only have 2 more entries left, and I kind of feel like the 2 best are left now. So let's just get on with them. 2024 brought us Luna with her song The Tower. Okay, the big elephant in the room. Yes, the live performance was a little underwhelming. However, I think that is mainly the fault of the choreography. This song is not easy to sing. And Luna is not somebody who's, you know, a incredibly skilled dancer. So giving her a song that requires her to be constantly moving is slightly bad. And then also giving her a choreo which doesn't allow her to like breathe. Yes, she's gonna sound breathy. That's just kind of how it ended up. I think she can perform this song very well, and that just wasn't her greatest night. I also think that the choreography could have been better. The 2 towers, when we saw the first pictures of this, it was very apparent that like, okay, these two towers are gonna be a subject of many jokes. If you know, you know. But then like going to the song itself, this is a bop. This is a banger. This is a banger with a message even. It's really fun. It's really progressive almost. Like it feels like something that maybe isn't necessarily catered towards the taste of the general public now, but something that will be. You know, it sounds kind of futuristic in a way. I love the aesthetic of it. I also think that Luna is an incredibly cool artist. I think that the performance also had some like good things about it. I really like the aesthetic of it. I love the like galaxy mixed with the black, white, and red. I think that was really effective. I love how they used the floor as well, with her like lying on it, and it looked like she was like riding a horse or something. It was really fun. I like the concept of the game of chess and the building the tower. I just really like this. I'm sorry, I'm a slut for concepts. I'm a slut for good lyrics and good music. And this delivers on all fronts. Maybe this wasn't the best live performance, but I actually don't care, because this is an artistic achievement, and this gets the Zdeněk Martyniuk Award for Artistic Achievements. You can yell at me all you want in the comments, but I don't give a shit. You know, at least in this video, Luna cannot be sabotaged by Xi Jinping. And finally, we have reached the last entry on this list, that being 2025, Justyna Steczkowska with her song, Gaia. I love this song. Everybody who is Polish loves this song. I feel like that was kind of the general consensus in the country. Yeah, this is a good fucking entry. Justyna is a professional. She has so much charisma. Her vocal prowess from 1995, where she represented us with Sama, has only gotten better. Her screams, her flying in the air, performing literally death-defying stunts whilst singing this incredibly high notes. I just love this. I love the aesthetic. I love the choreography. I love that this is like a Game of Thrones, but making Eurovision. I love the dragon. I love the fire and everything. This is just so good. I also love that this has a message. This is a personification of Mother Nature and her kind of outlook on how civilization is destroying the planet. I think that is gorgeous. And I think that this song also takes elements from Slavic culture and Slavic musical traditions and makes them modern again, which is so fun to see. I am so proud that this represented us in 2025 in Basel, and I think that this was robbed. I'm gonna die on that hill. I think that the juries flopped massively with this one. I obviously think that the jury saved Eurovision this year, but I also think that they made a couple mistakes along the way, and I think not awarding this the flowers that it desperately deserved definitely hurt and wasn't the correct outcome. At least I'm happy that the televote appreciated us the way that it did, but those juries, man, yeah, get it together. But this is obviously landing in the Zdeněk Martyniuk Award for Artistic Achievements. Like, there's no other place I can put this in. I think that this is the full tier list, though. And if you have any objections, please tell me in the comments down below. Obviously, I think some people are going to be mad at some songs that I put somewhere. Wait, actually, I put Solo in the wrong place. Why did I put this here? I'm so sorry. This was meant to go into the Nie pytają cię o imię, walczą z ostrym mgły tier. I was never supposed to put this high. I'm so sorry. I probably offended a lot of people. I'm not gonna change that. I'm sorry. I am a mess. Is that something new to you? So yeah, I think now that we are done and all of the corrections have been made, I want to have a couple words with you about the future that I think Poland is heading in when it comes to Eurovision and when it comes to also other stuff, because weirdly Eurovision in our country is very intertwined with the political turmoil that we are currently experiencing. So basically, what I'm referring to is our Eurovision participation, as you can see, have been getting way more adventurous. 2024 is an example of that. 2025 is an example of that. And if you look, this is how far we've come in a decade. Like, we can go in this direction and be even more adventurous every single time. But that is dependent on a few different factors. Firstly, our musical scene, which is not going to be a problem because it's rapidly growing. There's a lot of young and up-and-coming artists who are really good at what they do. However, unfortunately, our thriving music scene is not going to carry us to a Eurovision trophy anytime soon if the political climate in Poland doesn't evolve in some way. And what I am referring to is unfortunately TVP. Basically, if you look at this, 2023, right? This was not necessarily Blanca's fault, in my opinion. Of course, there were accusations of like nepotism or bribing the juries or whatever. But like, let's be real. She was sent to the contest because they were desperately trying to avoid sending Jan to the contest because he is not presenting himself like a real man should. 2023 was still a time where peace or Prawo i Sprawiedliwość or PiS ruled this country. They had the majority in the parliament, and they also had the president's spot, which was Andrzej Duda, who was mentioned over here. Not that good of a person, but at least he was funny. TVP was being controlled by that party, especially by the end of their like second term. It was very, very clear that TVP had just become like a propaganda tool to use, and that reflected in our Eurovision participations. That's why this happened, that's why this happened, that's why this happened, and partially this, because this is also like, I just know there was no gay person looking at this and being like, yeah, let's do this. You need gay people in creative meetings about Eurovision. Like, you need them, because otherwise you come out looking like this. But that thankfully changed in 2024. Basically, in late 2023, we had the parliamentary election and the more like centrist, I guess, party, because they are kind of like right-leaning, but also not. It's difficult to explain. They won the election, so they had the majority in the parliament. Andrzej Duda was still the president, but thanks to the difference in the parliament now, they were able to basically order a clearance of the entirety of the top brass at TVP, which led to a very funny protest by those people who decided to barricade themselves at the TVP headquarters in Warsaw. And we're not letting in policemen. Like, that's gonna help your situation. I mean, okay, these people were probably afraid of the lawsuits that would be filed against them because, girl, they said some things during those 8 years that really, really hurt some people. I mean, one of the biggest examples is the moment TVP was overtaken and everybody was basically replaced. There was a live on-air apology issued towards the LGBTQ plus community living in Poland.
Przez długie lata w Polsce pod adresem wielu osób padały haniebne słowa, tylko dlatego, że osoby te postanowiły same decydować o tym, za kogo się uważają i kogo kochają. Osoby LGBT+ to nie ideologia, a ludzie. Konkretne imiona, twarze, bliscy i przyjaciele. Wszystkie te osoby powinny gdzieś usłyszeć słowo przepraszam właśnie z tego miejsca. Przepraszam.
Dziękujemy.
Which was done by one of the presenters, and it was really beautiful to see. Personally, as a queer person living in Poland, I really appreciated that. I know it's like silly to get like all emotional about that, but that was like the first time somebody talked about this in that side of the media positively in such a long time that I genuinely felt like a little moved by that, despite the fact that this same network has caused so much pain and spread so much misinformation about my community. But basically everything was looking upwards. We got a very ambitious entry in 2024. We couldn't really get the landing right with it, but 2025 was no different. And we had a massive national final, which was incredibly stacked. We had artists like Chrust, Swada and Nikos, and of course Justyna Styczkowska, who all delivered quality. And this is not something that would be possible under the old TVP. However, TVP's integrity is at risk again, because in 2025, in July 2025, or June, is it July or June? I think it's June, but Karol Nawrocki won our presidential election, and this country is doomed, basically. This is another politician that comes from the Peace Party, the PiS Party, if you will. Basically, he is a hooligan. He was endorsed by Trump. What else? He kicked an old man out of an apartment. He is extremely homophobic, misogynistic, racist, really Christian. He's basically like a Polish version of Trump. So this is not gonna go very well. However, luckily for us, we have 2 more years for TVP to establish Eurovision as like a side project that cannot be touched by the propaganda that is currently being spread by Prawo i Sprawiedliwość. Basically, how the current political climate in Poland looks like right now is we have the parliament, which is not ruled by the PiS majority, by the PiS majority, and we have a president who is representative of that party, you know, Prawo i Sprawiedliwość. So there is basically, you know, they don't work together, they don't mesh together, they are blocking each other. We are in a state of a political impasse, and that does kind of make me hopeful that for the next 2 years, not much is going to change because the next parliamentary election is in 2027. So in that time, TVP has enough time to hopefully cement our national final and our Eurovision participations as something that is free of the rising conservative politics that are on such a high wave currently in the country. I kind of think that this would be done in a similar way to like Serbia, where RTS is another like propaganda state channel that was, for example, not covering the protests against the government that were happening earlier this year. But Pesma za Eurowizję, their national final, served as a platform for artists to express themselves, no matter whether they supported the protest or whatnot. It was kind of like a neutral ground, and I kind of hope that our national final becomes that. Of course, it's kind of sad that we have to like go down to that level and like make sure that like the integrity of the national final isn't broken, because we've already broken a few national finals, let me tell you that. But I think that for this time period, I think that this is the best solution, because we cannot be sure of the election results in 2027. Well, I mean, if I had to guess, I would probably guess that Prawo i Sprawiedliwość are gonna win the majority in the parliament. So that is gonna be horrible, and I am likely gonna have to immigrate. But to end maybe on a more positive note, I think that there is a future for Poland in Eurovision. And I think we saw that with Gaia, we saw that with the Tower. We are finally modernizing ourselves, and I think it's nice to see ambitious entries come from this country. I think that there is still a lot to be learned, but I think that hopefully we're going to take the lessons, we're going to move on, and we're going to apply them, and we're going to grow as a country, as a Eurovision institution, and hopefully one day Eurovision can be welcomed in Poland. And hopefully that time will come soon, because I would die if we won Eurovision. That will be crazy. But I think it's time for me now to go. I've been yapping for a long time now about these entries. As you can tell, this is a topic that I'm slightly passionate about, because again, I live here, I am Polish, and I want to see my country represented proudly. But there's just nothing that I can add to this conversation more now. So I'm just gonna go. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that you remember to subscribe to my channel, like the video, comment down below. You can share it around, follow me on all of my other socials, which are listed in the description box below. Remember to check out my other videos, because I have quite a few at this point. Some Eurovision themed, some not. It's gonna be fun no matter what. And I hope to see you soon whenever the new video drops. It's gonna be really, really fun. It's gonna be the first video of August, and I'm sure you can guess what it will be if it's August. You know? Guess it down below. I will see you soon, but until then, take care and bye.